Hello students, welcome to a new lecture. Today we are going to start our second chapter called as periodic classification of the elements. In the last class we have finished atomic structure and let us go for a new topic, right? So in the periodic classification of elements, the most important thing you should know and have a strong idea or a command is periodic table, right? Because periodic table is such a concept in chemistry on which you can argue to be the most fundamental concept in the entire chemistry, right? Be it at junior level or senior level or even at UG level, right? Based on periodic table only all the fundamental concepts of chemistry lie, right? Therefore, it is very important for you to pay strong attention in this chapter and get a good command on periodic table, right? So, let us now start at how periodic table came about, right? How did they got an idea that we should make a table which have some properties and similarities called as periodic table, right? It all started by when they tried to identify elements. In the very beginning there were only few elements known, right? In the beginning there were around 40 to 50 elements only known during 1800, right? But later, so far we know 114 elements till now, right? So can you study about each and every element out of 114 elements we know? Can you study the physical and chemical property of each and every element individually? It's not possible, right? So you must have certain criteria or certain categories in which you can group similar type of elements in one group, in one category, and the elements which are opposite into another category, right? If you make that type of categories, or if you categorize all the 114 elements known to you into a set of groups, it becomes easy for us to understand all the properties related to that group, be it physical properties and chemical properties, right? And you will have similarity of all some properties in that group. All the elements present in certain group which you made should have similarities, right? Those who don't have similarity should not be coming into that group, right? That similarities or a trend of similarities was first observed by Dobriner. Dobriner was the scientist who observed that out of all these elements we know there is a set of three elements. There is a set of three elements called as triads. There is a set of three elements called as triads in which the top element and the bottom element's atomic weight. The top element and the bottom element's atomic weight is an average. If you take an average of the top element and the bottom element, you will get the value of atomic weight of the middle element. That combination of three elements is called as a triad, and the repetition or the pattern of similarity law is called as Dobriner's law of triads, right? And in each category or in each group there should come three elements, right? The top one and the bottom one's atomic weight, whatever atomic weight they have, their sum total and average if you take will give you the atomic weight of the middle element, right? Suppose I am taking X, Y and Z, right? These are the three elements I have taken as an example. Its atomic weight is 1 and its atomic weight is 3, right? Atomic weight of X is 1, Z is 3. If you make a total of first and last and take the average, you will get 2, and that 2 will be the atomic weight of middle element, right? Can you find any pattern or any similarity in this set of three elements? Yes, right? So in the out of all the elements known, Dobriner observed that this similarity exists in a group of atoms or elements, and he named it as Dobriner's law of triads. Let us take an example of lithium, sodium and potassium, and we know that the atomic weight of lithium is 7, sodium is 23 and potassium is 39. If you take an average of these two, you will get 23, which is nothing but the atomic weight of sodium, right? Which is nothing but the atomic weight of sodium. This law of triad is proposed by Dobriner. This is the first foundation laid down to go towards the discovery of periodic table. Before Dobriner, no one identified or no one ever observed that elements can have certain similarities. He was the first to observe the similarities in elements, right? But this Dobriner's law of triads cannot work anymore, because it's not possible for all the sets of elements. It is only seen in few of the groups, not in all the elements, right? Therefore, it is rejected. The next pattern or the next repetition of similarities was observed by Newland. And he took a group of 8 elements from the elements known to us. He took 8 elements from the element known to us and he named it as octaves. Newland's law of octaves. What he found or what he observed was the repetition of the properties are seen after every 8th element, right? The first element and 8th element of a group of elements shows exactly the similar properties, and that repetition was found in a set of different elements out of the elements known to you, right? Triads was about a group of 3 elements in atomic weights, resembling the atomic weights, but Newland took an example of 8 elements from the periodic table and he identified that the first element of the group of 8 and last element of the group of 8 has similar properties. Means the chemical and physical properties are getting repeated by every 8th element of the series, right? This law is called as Newland's law of octaves. Newland's law of octaves. To explain this, he took a general example of, or we took the general example of musical note. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th. First and 8th are the properties are getting repeated again from the 8th element, right? This new Dobriner's law of triad, when it cannot work anymore on all the sets of elements, they rejected it to be a coincidence. It's not a rule or a law applied by all the elements, and it's just a coincidence for certain groups, right? But Newland's law of octaves seems to be correct, but it can no longer work after calcium, right? Calcium having an atomic number of 20, after calcium the repetition of first element and 8th element cannot be seen, right? So till calcium only you can observe Newland's law of octave to be correct. After calcium it can no longer be applied for the remaining elements, right? That is the limitation of Newland's law of octave. Seeing this pattern of repetition, Mendeleev proposed that he tried to plot a graph by considering many physical properties like temperature, boiling point, melting point, atomic weight, atomic number, all those, right? And he plotted a graph and he has seen that properties are getting repeated by every periodic interval. By every periodic intervals the physical properties are getting repeated, and that repetition is because of atomic weights. Therefore, he was the first to give a periodic law. He was the first to give a uniform law called as periodic law, right? Mendeleev periodic law. Because we should credit Mendeleev because at the time Mendeleev gave periodic law, there were many elements which was unknown to us, which came to be known now, right? Even then, by giving this periodic law, he predicted certain elements that will have this range of atomic weight only and this range of physical and chemical property only. With that limited elements known at that time during Mendeleev, he proposed periodic law and he made a small periodic table, but it does not have 114 elements which we know now. But with whatever elements known to him at that time, he made a periodic table, and whosoever has repetition or similarities, he grouped them into one category. And in any group, if any element is not showing similarity, or if any element is not fitting into that category, he kept that box empty. And he, apart from keeping the box empty, he also told that there will be an element which you will come to know and whose name is not known to you, but its atomic weight will be this much only, its temperature, melting point and boiling point will be in this range only. Whatever he predicted during his periodic law was discovered very much later, and it was found out experimentally that values he proposed and values we determined experimentally is almost the same. Therefore, for that reason we should credit Mendeleev, and let us see his periodic law. His periodic law, after all his experiments and observations, his law was telling that the periodic function of the physical and chemical properties, or the periodic properties of the elements are only because of atomic weight, right? The repetitions you are finding is the periodic function of atomic weight. Physical and chemical properties of the elements are periodic function of their atomic weights, right? This was the law given by Mendeleev, called as periodic law, Mendeleev's periodic law, right? Physical and chemical properties of the elements are periodic function of their atomic weights, right? Atomic weights. This you should remember very well, right? Because after this point of time, there were many elements which was discovered later, and they tried to fit that elements into the empty boxes which Mendeleev has left. And seeing the repetition again, after getting a final periodic table and observing the trend of repetitions, they made another law called as, they made a new table called as modern periodic table, or long form of periodic table. And after making long form of periodic table, they gave a final law called as modern periodic law. And in that modern periodic law, they told that all the trend of repetitions, be it repetition of melting and boiling points, be it repetition in dipole moment, be it repetition in chemical properties, all the repetitions are only because of atomic number and not because of atomic weight. Till Mendeleev, the reason for similarity was considered to be atomic weights, but after long form of periodic table, the reason of repetitions, similarities, grouping and all is because of atomic number and not because of atomic weight. So now let us look at modern periodic law. Modern periodic law, and this is the final law which says that physical and chemical properties of the elements are periodic functions of atomic number. Atomic number, which means what is atomic number? It is nothing but number of protons or number of electrons in a neutral atom, right? So electrons, number of electrons decides its physical properties, and number of electron decides its chemical properties. Therefore, everything related to physical and chemical properties is governed by is a function of, is a result of atomic number and not atomic weight. This is the modern periodic law, based on which long form of periodic table or modern periodic table was designed, in which we have 114 elements, right? And let us also give credit to Mendeleev, who observed that whenever he grouped, he considered atomic weights, but when atomic weights are also not coming out to be in serial order, like example iodine and tellurium, right? These two are the elements, right, in which iodine's atomic weight is lesser than tellurium, right? But in the periodic table, atomic weight of this iodine is less and tellurium is more. But in the periodic table of Mendeleev, or in the periodic table of modern periodic, even in the long form of periodic table also, iodine comes after tellurium. First comes tellurium, then comes iodine, right? That means tellurium, even though having more atomic weight, comes before iodine, and iodine, even though having less atomic weight, comes after tellurium. Even in the modern periodic table also you will find the same, right? So if atomic weights are really determining everything, how can you group them, how can you give the credit for atomic weights to determine the properties, right? Because he observed not only atomic weights, he also observed physical and chemical properties of iodine following the above group. Who comes above iodine? Bromine, chlorine, fluorine, right? Iodine, just because iodine's atomic weight should resemble this group, he didn't place iodine here and he didn't place tellurium here. He violated atomic weights and then placed iodine here, because atomic weight may not be same, or atomic weight may not be following a proper order. But important fact for us to determine is it similar to this side of the group or is it similar to this side of the group, right? Based on this occurrence or based on this incident also, the final periodic table is paying attention not to atomic weight but to atomic number, right? And Mendeleev also proposed an element which comes after aluminium, right? Boron, aluminium, and next element which is gallium, but it was not known. He told that after aluminium, in that group after aluminium, there is an element which is not yet discovered, and it will have similarity with aluminium. He predicted that there is an element who should come at this place. Its name I don't know, but it will show similarity with aluminium. Therefore, what did he do? He named that element which was not yet discovered to be Aka aluminium. After aluminium it should come, right? And after silicon, carbon, silicon, after silicon there is an element about which I don't know, but it will have similarity with silicon and it will come after silicon, right? And that element name Mendeleev gave as Aka silicon. Later, after many years, they discovered an element called as gallium. They discovered an element called as gallium who is having the same properties of boron, aluminium, and therefore they placed gallium into that empty box which Mendeleev kept, right? And whatever value of atomic number Mendeleev told it has exactly that value only. And same for this box also, they discovered an element called as germanium who has the same value predicted by Mendeleev and who has the same similarities predicted by Mendeleev. So therefore they kept germanium here as per the prediction of Mendeleev, and they kept gallium here as per the prediction of Mendeleev, right? So with limited elements also, he laid the correct foundation of the periodic table by making the boxes empty even if you don't know the elements, right? That empty boxes got filled by discovering new elements, and you finally got a new periodic table or the final periodic table called as modern periodic table, right? This is about the introduction of periodic table. How final periodic table came, let us see the final periodic table and study. Let us look at the long form of periodic table now. Long form of periodic table. The long form of periodic table has 7 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. 7 horizontal rows are present in the long form of periodic table and it is called as periods, right? The horizontal rows present in the long form of periodic table are called as periods, and there are 7 periods in the long form of periodic table: first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh, right? And the vertical columns present in the long form of periodic table are called as groups, and there are 18 such groups in the periodic table, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, let us take the top row here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18, right? So, in the long form of periodic table there are 7 rows called as periods and 18 groups, 18 columns called as groups, right? So, in the periodic table these are the elements arranged, and they didn't just start placing the elements one after the other. Seeing the similarity, they placed the elements required to be placed at which position, in that group only they placed, right? This is how the long form of periodic table will be, starting from hydrogen and the next is helium. It should come at the extreme right side and hydrogen should come at the extreme left side, right? So, the first 2 groups of the periodic table belongs to one group of elements called as S block elements, followed by a next group of elements called as P block elements, followed by the next group of elements called as D block elements, and inside the D block elements there is another set of group called as F block elements, right? So, let us now group the periodic table in the form of blocks, right? This type of boxes seems to be very lengthy. So, now what we will do is we will study periodic table in the form of even larger groups called as blocks, and there are 4 different blocks of element called as S block elements, P block elements, D block and F block elements, right? So, let us take a smaller diagram of periodic table which is this way. Right, this is the group wise or the block wise representation of periodic table, and these are the 4 blocks, right? Extreme left side of the periodic table, the elements are called as S block elements. Who comes under S block elements, that we will study later. But where will S block elements come, where will P block elements come, where will D block elements come, that we will see first. Extreme left side of the periodic table, you have 2 groups. You have 2 groups together called as S block elements, right? And extreme right side of the periodic table, there are 8 groups and it is called as P block elements. Right? S block elements are called as alkaline earth metals. Alkali and alkaline earth metals are the names of S block elements. The reason is, in this group you will find metals which are light and highly electropositive. Metals which are light in weight and highly electropositive comes under this block, and therefore they will combine easily to form bases. Alkalis, they will form bases very easily, therefore they are called as alkali and alkaline earth metals. On the extreme right side, p block elements are more electronegative elements, right, or opposite of S block. Electronegative elements are mostly present in p block elements, and most of the reactions in the chemistry, or most of the elements who makes more molecules or who make more compounds are given to p block elements only. So they are called as main group elements. Main group elements are representative elements because they have high capacity to gain and lose electrons, except the last group of the p block. Last group of the p block is 8th group, or noble gases. Apart from noble gases, all the 7 groups of p block are together called as representative elements or main group elements, right. Who comes under p block? That's the next study. But S block on the left side, p block on the right side. In between S block and p block, I told that S block is electropositive and p block is not electropositive, or you can say electronegative. In between these two, you will find a group of elements who are showing the transition from electropositive nature to electronegative nature, right. They are transitioning from electropositive nature to go towards electronegative nature, and their properties are in between S block and p block. Therefore they are called as D block elements or transition elements. Why they are called as transition elements is because their properties comes in between of S and p block elements, right. Who comes under transition elements are all D block elements, and mostly they are metals, but they are not soft metals, they are hard metals. The metals who comes under S block are very soft in nature, light in weight, and they are therefore S block. But the metals who comes under D block are hard in nature and they are hard metals, right. And their properties is in between S and P, therefore they are called as transition elements. Inside the transition elements, after some elements, there is one more series in the form of a branch inside of D block elements only. That series are having metals who are mostly radioactive, and they are present in F orbitals, therefore they are called as F block elements, or as they are present inside the D block, they are called as inner transition elements. As they are present inside the D block, they are called as, if D block is called as transition elements, as F block is present inside transition, they are called as inner transition elements, right. So this is the diagrammatic representation of periodic table, in which the left side group are called as S block element because the valence shell is of S subshell or S block orbitals, therefore it is called as S block. Right side you will have elements whose valence shell is in p orbitals, therefore it is called as P block. In the center of S and P there are D block elements or D subshell elements, which is also called as transition, and inside the transition there is F block elements who are also called as inner transition elements. We will study each and every block in the next class.